Hello, my name is Frank Fallon. I lead AWS's Worldwide Financial Services team. And welcome to the AWS FSI reInvent track, which we're naming Navigating Change While Facing Forward. And we'll have Dinesh Keswani from HSBC talking a little bit more in a few minutes about what they're doing with AWS. But before then, I wanted to just give a quick preview of the agenda and provide a few opening comments. I'd like to kind of address how we see our AWS customers and financial services navigating the change that's hit us all, and how they're adapting not only to that change, but using that to be able to help shape the future of what they're going to be providing with their customers with AWS. I'll then turn it over to Dinesh, and after his comments, I'll wrap it up. Now, I've been working in and with financial services industry for more decades than I'd like to admit. And yeah, we've been hit with a lot of shockwaves in the past, but nothing in my memory really compares to what we faced this year with the COVID-19 and the impacts of the pandemic on our planet, on our society, and certainly financial services was impacted as well. And we really were in a point where I think the world was looking at how would we react as an industry and as organizations within the industry. The letter to the shareholders from Jeff Bezos recently had this quote from the famous child author known commonly as Dr. Seuss. And while I imagine Dr. Seuss, when he wrote this, didn't envision that it would be part of Amazon's letter to the shareholder or part of the financial services presentation, it really, I think, struck home what all of us are facing, whether it be Amazon or the financial services industry, or frankly, us as individuals. And I have just been so impressed from a industry perspective how our customers have not let this pandemic and its devastating impact define it. It has not let it destroy it. But in fact, it really has served in so many cases to help strengthen what our financial services customers are providing to their customers. I'll give you a few examples. When this pandemic hit, there was a need to get funds and assistance to folks as soon as possible. And we had some customers working with the Paycheck Protection Program and spinning up a platform that allowed them to get the funds to the needy folks throughout the U.S. commercial environment. You saw a number of our customers continue to be able to do risk calculations despite the volatility in the markets and make the best decisions possible with using the reliability and the availability and resiliency of the AWS platform. We saw some insurance companies quickly move and create digital products for their customers, many of whom only could access those products through a face-to-face meeting. We also saw a number of our customers make the buying process safer by devising and innovating and creating new features around some of our contactless payments capabilities. And even the regulators are using AWS to ensure that the bad guys aren't using this pandemic to be able to embezzle or fraud the entire system. And as we go a little deeper, we see that our customers were leveraging technologies. Yes, a lot of them were being used prior to the pandemic hitting, but using these technologies often in a new way. As an example, being able to bring their workforces home, work from home in a way that is secure and reliable. we saw examples where major banks were able to move thousands of their contact center agents from the contact center to the home and be able to continue to help their customers, which really provided a service not only to their customers, but to their entire national financial system. We saw our customers use data in a new way, and the volumes of data that have been created through so many different type of market activities have been able to be leveraged by AWS and our customers using that to be able to create new insights, to be able to continue to report on activities despite record volumes. And we've also seen the use of ML and AI technologies used to innovate and extend and create new capabilities and products for their customers to address new concerns and new opportunities. And so while, as I said, the cloud is not new, certainly we're seeing that our customers are compressing their timeframes to leverage the cloud in order to move to digital more quickly, in order to be able to create products, in order to be more agile, in order to be more secure. And what our session is for financial services within reInvent is kicked off by Dinesh and his story about HSBC, but then we'll be featuring speakers for some of the most prestigious financial services organizations in the world, and they will discuss how they're leveraging AWS, not only to address their current needs of their customers, but building out capabilities, products, platforms that will extend for the next 5 or 10 years or more. So companies like JP Morgan and AXA and Fidelity Investments, Venmo, Goldman Sachs, Barclays, Fannie Mae, Capital One, a virtual who's who of financial services organizations around the world will be sharing their experiences with you. So I'm going to turn this over now to Dinesh, and he'll be talking about the details about how they've been working with AWS.
Thank you, Frank. Appreciate being given the opportunity to come here and speak to the audience at AWS reInvent. My name is Dinesh Keswani. I'm the CTO for Shared Services and Cloud. And I'm going to go through how we are driving digital reinvention of the customer experience at HSBC. A small introduction of who we are. We're a 158-year-old bank. We have a global technology footprint. We operate in over 60 markets, and we have over 233,000 employees with 40 million customers in those 60 markets as well. We also have 7,000 plus applications that support our employee and customer base. We use AWS on a global scale. We've deployed Amazon's web services in 5 markets globally. We're present in UK, in Ireland, in Hong Kong, in US, and Singapore, with more coming soon. And we look to expand into other markets as we try to meet local regulatory and compliance laws as well. What are we trying to achieve? We want to make the use of technology quite simple. And with the complexity of the ecosystem that we have, productivity has become an issue. Right? We have multiple banking platforms. We have teams that are geographically dispersed, applications that are geographically dispersed, and we operate in a very, very highly regulated environment. The customer experience is evolving rapidly as well, where the confluence of mobile, big data, cloud services, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and all of these new services are evolving to provide customer experiences that have never been seen before. And how do we take advantage of solving and taking advantage of thrilling our customers while doing one thing that's most important that we should never forget, which is keeping the banks safe and keeping the money that our customers give us which entrust us with safety and big concern. Now, how have we embarked on this journey? We're a highly regulated concern. We interact with regulators from over 60 countries quite regularly. We we focus on governing all of the services that come on board, straight from outsourcing, privacy, and cybersecurity, implementing controls along the way. We are leading the way with a number of regulators and working closely with them to set the framework for public cloud adoption. Uh, some of the big advantages that we have are, in scaling out our services, are the capability to automate and drive compliance through automation and event-driven controls, and that has helped us in accelerating our journey towards cloud compliance. Now, this has enabled us to not just start digitizing our customer journeys and enable better experiences, but also improve developer productivity. Now, the key to driving innovation and making sure that the customer experience that we want to drive with digital transformation is try and bring the business and the technology teams together and work cohesively. Part of the challenge is also how do you drive innovation while trying to build new services, and we're trying to build global experiences as a seamless universal bank for customers. So our top priorities ultimately drive better engaging customer experience while increasing velocity and taking advantage of the capabilities that the public cloud provides us. One of the biggest advantages of using AWS has been the ability to test newer experiences with smaller sets of customers while gathering rapid feedback and delivering more dynamic and engaging experiences with incremental effort quite rapidly. And that has become something that's ingrained within our software development process as well. Now, our cloud journey actually started about 4 years ago when we committed to using the public cloud. And as every large initiative, the first thing we focused was on education. How do we get our engineering teams versed in cloud technologies? How do we build a solid training program, get some certifications, get some skin in the game, and scars in the back? But foremost, and build solid security practices within the team and work with our compliance and controls teams to build that into our cloud platforms itself. One of the first programs that launched and took advantage of AWS as a service was our HSBC digital banking services, where we enable messaging platforms to communicate to our customers and enable in-app based messaging as well as text-based messaging. So, for example, in the UK, 8 million customers today take advantage of the apps that enable alerting and messaging. And we've so far sent out over 160 million messages in the last 3 months just using that. And we have enabled machine learning and serverless analytics using those capabilities. As we mature in the journey, we have over 1,000 certified engineers today within the company on AWS, and we're ready to take the next leap of faith, which is try and move our core apps into AWS. Now, the partnership started with thinking about how do we not just take advantage of cloud from a technology perspective, but also drive agility in terms of scaling our services. So how do we accelerate some of the services that we are that used to take us weeks or months to deploy on premise, post experimentation, and try and deploy them in seconds rather than in months? And how do we gather all of the customer data and feedback that's coming through at a near unlimited scale in the cloud, with the ultimate aim of bettering customer experience? What it involved also was devising new security practices and governance into the use of cloud. So automation of the security practices, the controls that we provide. We have a continuous compliance program that runs, several hundred compliance controls on an ongoing basis that gives us the assurance that as we scale our cloud services, we're actually keeping our data secure, our framework secure, and our developers from ensuring that they meet the controls as they deploy applications in the cloud. Uh, Security and encryption are baked into all parts of AWS. That gives us confidence that when we put in real customer data, that it is going to be meeting the promise that we made the customers earlier. So I'll walk you through an example of a service that we recently delivered, and it's been about a year. It's a global service. Open banking is live in 12 countries today. There's extensive reuse. We have millions of customers that use open banking, that take advantage of the data and the connectivity between banks, and we have hundreds of third-party providers that take advantage of open banking in terms of connecting to our bank and using the third-party services to connect. What we realized is as we built the framework around open banking, the biggest advantage was to take that open banking framework and deploy it as an instance in any AWS country in any AWS region that we wanted to go live in. So it required minimal configuration change to onboard a new country and meet their open banking compliance laws. A lot of technology goes into this. This is just not about enabling open banking, but also a set of capabilities and technologies that we haven't taken advantage of prior. So, for example, we use Apache NiFi on-premise that routes data to Lambda, and the business logic can be tuned to be country-specific, and the data can be stored in the country that the regulators require the data to be stored in. And if there's an alert, for example, in the UK with confirmation of pay as a service through open banking, that alert actually straight goes through a mobile phone from Kinesis in the cloud. We have masses of data. For example, we do over 100,000 queries a second using Aurora transactionally to support compliance requirements, to ensure that the transactions going through have the integrity, have the checks that we have to carry out, which were previously done on-premise in terms of compliance requirements. So everything is secure end-to-end, everything reusable, and this framework has helped us accelerate us getting some of the benefits that we get. And most importantly, time to market has improved considerably. We estimate that we save about 50% of our delivery time by reusing the core components of open banking. What we don't have to do, which we had to do previously, was set up infrastructure from scratch, set up configuration scripts from scratch. And you don't need to do that anymore. You don't need to rebuild all of that. The framework helps you build all that infrastructure, and the application itself is reusable. What we really like about this is the security patterns are adaptable as well. And if there are newer controls in a different country, it's a config change and it's fully auditable. The cost reduction is related to the resource cost, but also as we scale up, we take advantage of the cost tiers in AWS. So this is something that shows that as you commit to a service, that you take advantage of multiple parameters here. What is our future strategy? We're looking, really good from a scale and stability perspective. We're excited by what we've built. Our employee base, our engineering productivity shows that our teams are excited by using AWS globally. These teams and these digital capabilities are very directly related to our relationships with our customers. we're seeing higher satisfaction, higher retention rates because we provide services that connect us to the customer deeper than ever. So we're looking forward to continue to take advantage of AWS services. We continue to look to innovate for our customers across the globe and build our relationships. Thank you very much. I appreciate giving the chance to speak here.
Thank you, Dinesh. Great comments. And so I'd like all of us to think through what Dinesh had to say and really incorporate many of these suggestions into how we move forward together to help address the needs of our customers. A few suggestions. One, make sure you educate your workforce on cloud and the capabilities of cloud. Number two, if you've got workloads in production or about to go into production, utilize a well-architected review from AWS. We love bringing our folks in and do that service to make sure that what you've built is architected correctly and securely. I'd suggest experimenting with perhaps some new services and bring in programs from AWS like our digital innovation program to think about new ways that you can serve your customers better. And finally, put in place a migration strategy that moves the organization quickly and ultimately in a way that can best serve the needs of your customers and your organizations. So thank you very much. I hope that you've enjoyed this program and look forward to having you be able to participate in the future programs with all the other financial services organizations.